Welcome back to Captions. I'm so glad you came back. I hope you brought somebody else with you because I think you'll enjoy this segment of our program where we're talking about black businesses here in Peoria. And as you can see, I have three special guests who are operators of black businesses. I have immediately to my left Ryan Foster, to his left Janet Cornish Davis, and to her left James Fairley. Welcome to Captions.
Thank you. Thank you.
So glad that you came by to share with our audience tonight some of the challenges and some of the reasons that you ended up being in business for yourself. Instead of just going out like unfortunately many of us have to do, but unfortunately many of us aren't even able to do, and that's to find a job, you've decided to create your own. Ryan, what business is it that you're associated with?
Hick'ry Catering Carryout.
Okay, and what about you, Janet?
Janet's Just For You, a clothing boutique.
And James?
The T-shirt King.
The T-shirt King.
Well,
King. We have a variety in terms of the kinds of businesses. I often make a joke that in Peoria it seems like 95% of our businesses are what I call the B word. It's either a barbershop, a beauty shop, a bar, or a barbecue joint. But we all have capabilities, not only to do those things, but to do things beyond those things. From what I understand, right, you're part of a family operation in terms of your mom and dad starting the business. How long has Hick'ry Stick been in business here in Peoria?
Hick'ry Stick has been in business for 16 years now, started in 1995.
16 years.
Yes.
Well, you probably were no more than a high school student or a junior high student when the family decided to go into that, right?
Yes.
Well, I am so glad that you're part of the business because that's one of the advantages of having a business is that it can be a family business. And hopefully, when mom and dad are no longer involved, you could pass it on to your son or daughter or people in the family. So that's one of the advantages of when you work in a family business, you can pass it on. You can't pass a job on. You can work at Caterpillar, you can work at a bank, you can work at District 150, but you can't pass that job on. What about you, Janet? What is your business?
It's a clothing boutique.
A clothing boutique.
Mm-hmm.
And how long have you been operating or owning that business?
19 years in February.
19 years?
Yes.
Well, you must have started when you were a teenager then too, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that is great. That is great.
Mm-hmm.
How did you happen to go into that in terms of a business? Did you explore other businesses or think about other businesses, or did you somehow decide that's what you wanted to do?
Well, more so my husband.
Okay.
He's was into clothing.
All right.
And so I just jumped on his tail.
Okay.
That's what I done.
Well, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. And James, you are the T-shirt King?
Ah, yeah, the T-shirt King.
How long have you been operating that business, and have you been associated with any other business here?
Yes, certainly. T-shirt King, the name was established in 2004.
2004.
But I've been in the imprinting business for 15 years now.
Okay.
And essentially I got into it because just wanting to do something on my own.
Great.
Being in the community and want to do things for the community, knowing that there's very limited you can do working for someone else. So by default and by faith, I jumped out there, and here I am now. It's like I'm the T-shirt King. So.
Okay, well that is fantastic. Are you a transplant to Peoria, or were you born and raised in Peoria?
Yeah, definitely a transplant.
Okay.
But I think my story is interesting because I believe I'm probably the only person that literally prayed for like a year to be in Peoria.
Okay.
So with that being said, I heard a message once by one of the pastors in town and just thought it was a great place to learn. And so one day I had a dream that I got hired here, and I came here, and the rest is history, as they say. But,
well, and it's unique that you prayed to be in Peoria because I bet there's a lot of viewers that are saying, here I am, man, praying to get out of Peoria. But obviously you've been good for Peoria. I know you personally, and I know not you just as a businessman, but as a man. And you've brought a lot to the community, and I certainly hope that the community supports you and your business and that type of thing. In fact, to my knowledge, and you could correct me, I can't think of any other black business that's located in the Central Business District. as far as downtown Peoria. Am I correct?
You're correct, and that's it's kind of interesting how that's is unfolding that way. That's an example of one spot, but then I was also the first black business that was in the business district of University between War Memorial, or Forest Hill, and War Memorial and the Metro Center.
Fantastic.
And then also they say I was one of the first businesses in the mall, black businesses.
The
that
Northwoods
lasted,
Mall?
the Northwoods Mall that
Fantastic.
lasted more than 3 years. So that was kind of, it's just interesting. I guess it's all been.
Yeah. So you are quite a pioneer in terms of a lot of the locations. And again, I know when I was on the city council, I was always concerned, first of all, to be supportive of black businesses, but I did all I could to encourage black businesses to think in terms of being in the downtown area, to expand their geographic territory, that don't feel that because you're a black business that that's all you want in terms of customers as black business customers, but to put yourself in a position that not only can you meet the needs of the total community, the black community, but to put yourself in a position where the total community can have greater access to you. In fact, to me, I guess the greatest color that is needed in business in general and the greatest color that is needed in black businesses is the color green.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
It's the color green. And I would certainly hope that as people are listening, and I'm always being stopped not only by blacks in our community, but many whites, and I would certainly hope that as they listen to the three of you and hear about black businesses, that they certainly consider supporting and buying things from the black community. Janet, I believe many people may recognize you either personally or a special event that you have, and that's a style show that you've had for about how many years now?
15 years.
15
This
years.
year was the 15th year.
Okay.
Yes. I do a style show, and I keep it at a low cost for the community. And that's my way of giving back.
Okay.
We use people from the community, and people that buy from me, and then people from the community, children. That's the grade average is up.
Okay.
And from the last 5 years, my husband and I are the founder and co-founder of Help a Child Scholarship. So we give out 2 scholarships a year to black children.
Okay. Well, that is fantastic. I know a lot of people look forward to that show, from being there to view some of your latest fashions and styles and so forth, as well as many local people are participants, as you say, from young folk to not so young folk.
Yes.
And,
This year was a good year.
very professionally handled.
Thank
and the models handle themselves very professionally, and I know the styles that they all wear and represent certainly. In fact, I remember a few years ago, and maybe it's even been more frequent than that, I think that you had somebody design some type of an outfit out of Aldi bags.
Yes, one year we had that.
Right, Aldi
Yes.
food store bags.
Yes.
And that was amazing.
It was amazing, yes.
To see how stylish that was from something as simple as what we throw away in terms of bags.
Yes.
And as far as your shop, are you a seamstress? Do you make your own things, or do you bring things here, or how do you operate?
Everything in my boutique is designer.
Designer,
We
okay.
have designers from across the country that
Fantastic.
comes in, and it's all upscale things from Dobbs, Steve Harvey, Stetson, Donna Vinci, Ben Mark, Louis Ritchie, all kind of things like that. I try to do better best, because you can go everywhere and get anything.
Right.
But I want it to be special when you come, because it's just for you.
Okay. Well, that's a very unique title, just like the King James down there. Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, as far as Hick'ry Stick, tell me something about Hick'ry Stick. Are you a takeout restaurant, a sit-down restaurant, a caterer? What? Explain the kinds of services that Hick'ry Stick provides in the community.
The answer to that question is all of the above.
All of the above.
Yes. We now have a bake shop, and we're opening a coffee shop in Elmwood, and we are a full-fledged restaurant in Elmwood. We have seating for up to 104 in our restaurant. We have a banquet facility that has seating up to 200, and then we have a carry-out location in Peoria and / cafe and catering kitchen in Peoria also. So all the above.
And you said in Elmwood.
Yes, we expanded.
That doesn't jump right out to me where Elmwood is. Do you know how you or your parents, how y'all came to the decision to go to Elmwood?
They actually came and requested us.
Fantastic.
They came after we opened our cafe location in the East Bluff. They came and they contacted us and said they would love us to come to Elmwood because they had the tornado and they're trying to rebuild. And we went out there, and it wasn't on our radar before then, though.
Okay.
So.
Well, no, that's great. Well, you probably are the only minority-owned business in Elmwood.
Yes.
But
That's a good thing.
King James is the only minority-owned business in downtown Peoria, as big as it is and with as many minorities. I doubt if there's many minorities that live in Elmwood. But again, what you serve as a food goes across color lines.
That's right.
Now, we may kind of focus on it as part of our lifestyle as far as eating barbecue, but barbecue is something that everybody likes, and I'm certain that there, as you say, you now have a bake shop. Like, what kinds of things do you bake?
Croissants, puff pastry. We do specialty cakes, pies, cobblers.
Okay. Well, I am so proud. I know your mom and dad very well, and I've known them throughout the years, and I can say the same thing about them that I said about James. They have been a part of the community, not just in terms of the business that they operate, but by taking care of business and being involved in the community, sharing with the community in terms of their time, their labor, and things of that type. And so if you're the kind of an apple that don't fall far from the tree, I would expect you also to be a major influence in our community, and particularly as a young black man. To me, you represent the kind of a young black man that in a sense typifies a lot of black men in Peoria. Unfortunately, you don't make the headlines because you haven't been shot, you're not shooting, those kinds of things. But unfortunately, some people have kind of formed in their mind the stereotype that all black men, young men, are, you know, gangbangers or about doing something destructive. But you're a living example of a young man, when given an opportunity, that can be a major contributor to the community in providing goods and services as well as leadership. And that's one of the purposes that I wanted tonight's show to be, is for the black community in general and young men in particular to see that you can make a difference and there is a place. It takes hard work, as I was telling Janet before we started. I'm certain that you work much harder as a black business owner than if you had a job working somewhere. Could any of the three of you kind of pick up on that in terms of how difficult it is and what some of the challenges are, or what some of the surprises that you may have run into once you went into business for yourself compared to what you thought being in business for yourself would entail? James?
No, myself? Well, the first part of it and saying how it becomes a part of you.
Yes.
So it's not as if you can turn it on and turn it off. It's a passion, it's a drive. It's I would say it's more, it's driven more on self than it is on your rewards.
Right.
You know, because we already know that as long as we stick with it, we've seen what the end's going to be, so we already know we're going to have the rewards.